Kansas, Senator Roger Marshall. He's a member of the Senate Finance and Budget Committees. So, Senator, first, I want to get your take on what's happening this week in the Senate before the Senate goes off to recess. And it is these bills, these multitude of bills that fund things like FDA, NASA, Agricultural Department. These are very important bills. How is this process going to play out for us, sir?
Well, Cheryl, good morning to you. I'm on my way to Chiefs summer camp, so it's an exciting day for me. But how this is going to play out the rest of this week, we need to get these bills across the Senate floor. And if they don't, we can pin the tail on Chuck Schumer. The bills that we're considering this week, think about agriculture, military construction, VA, have passed out of committee by supermajority margin. Susan Collins is the appropriations chairwoman of that committee. She's done a wonderful job of getting bipartisan support. So think about the federal government discretionary spending. There's 12 buckets. We're going to try to get 3 of them across the floor. The Agriculture Committee appropriations came out 27-0. So the only way that these don't get across the finish line is if Chuck Schumer stops it from happening.
So I want to be clear here. And by the way, Chiefs camp sounds wonderful. Congratulations on that. But so the minibus would fund agriculture, the VA, commerce, justice, federal science programs, FDA, military construction, NASA, the FBI, and other economic trade related agencies. So you sound like you're feeling pretty bullish that we're going to actually have this deal completed. But there are some that are pushing back, some of your colleagues. Senator John Kennedy, he's putting down an objective over some legislative funding, and he says it's overspending. We've heard similar rhetoric from, say, Senator Rand Paul. And then you also have, as you kind of alluded to there, sir, the Chuck Schumer, the Democrats, who I'm sure would try and figure out anything procedural to trip you all up this week before you go on recess. Are you worried about any of that happening?
Well, sure, that's why we have an amendment process. That's why we need to play this out in front of the American people. But again, I'm going to compliment Senator Collins in that she's went back to pre-pandemic spending levels. This is the least amount of money we spent on discretionary spending since 2019, adjusted for inflation. So she's doing a great job. One other great thing I want to talk about here is going back to 2 years ago, Senator Collins was able to separate this parity between defense spending and non-defense discretionary spending. So for years, if the Republicans asked for more spending for defense, then the Democrats asked for more spending for their social programs. So we've been able to separate them. Look, this bill is not perfect, but it has huge bipartisan support. It's a next step in going back to balancing the budget. We did the one big, beautiful bill, I think, that grows the economy. I think our discretionary spending is going down in this particular case. So these are great steps. We did a rescissions package, more of those to come. So long term, let's think about our goal here. Long term, our goal is to get back towards a balanced budget.
No, and I know that Senator Collins has some concerns about some funding that's happening for the state of Maine. So we're certainly going to look for some more news out of her today. Let me move on to this, because you recently withdrew your support for the Digital Asset Anti-Money Laundering Act. This is a bill that you co-created with Senator Warren back in 2022. Why are you changing your position now?
Well, yeah, I think most importantly is Congress is now addressing the issue, my concerns about money laundering, that the Genius Act was passed. And again, compliment Senator Bill Hagerty, Cynthia Lummis, and others, Tim Scott, on getting this Genius Act passed. So I think it's a great first step in protecting us from money laundering. You know, I think it's important where I was coming from. Becoming a senator elected in 2020, as I talked to more and more CIA agents, national security people, one of their top 3 concerns was always money laundering and how crypto was being used. And then you think about the fentanyl poisoning. What happens is the cartels bring the drugs across the border, but then the Chinese triad, the Chinese version of the mafia, would then money launder it with crypto. So I still have concerns about crypto. The Genius Act is moving in the right direction. Previously, under Joe Biden, he refused to take this issue up. Thanks again to President Trump for being a leader, and the Senate leadership, Senator Thune, again, bringing us to the front. I didn't think we'd ever get a bill passed, but with President Trump's pushing, we got that across the finish line, too.
Okay. I want to ask you about some big news that Maria made yesterday on Sunday Morning Futures, the unraveling of the Russiagate scandal, and really who is behind all of this. And it looks like this has only just begun. Maria spoke with CIA Director John Ratcliffe on Sunday Morning Futures. He says there's more intelligence to be declassified, and it's going to happen soon. Watch what he told her.
that I have spent the last few months making recommendations about final declassification and sent that to the Department of Justice that will come out in the John Durham report classified annex. And what that intelligence shows, Maria, is that part of this was a Hillary Clinton plan, but part of it was an FBI plan to be an accelerant to that fake Steele dossier, to those fake Russia collusion claims by pouring oil on the fire, by amplifying the lie and burying the truth of what Hillary Clinton was up to.
Former House Intelligence Chair Devin Nunes also told Maria he questions whether that August 2022 Mar-a-Lago raid was related to documents related to his official assessment of the 2016 election interference report. Senator, you say the Obama White House was the true threat to democracy. And I want to actually pick up on this as well, because that Durham report that he's talking about, the annexes, the annotations at the bottom of the report, that's where the focus is right now. And this is, I want to get your reaction to references, footnotes, anything that was declassified in there, legal standards, maybe some of the summaries, not transcripts of the interviews. What is most important to you in that?
Oh, wow. There's a lot to unravel there. But remember, Obama never thought that Trump could win. They never thought anyone would go back and uncover this paperwork. I think that the Obama White House was the true threat to democracy. Think about psychological projection. That's what the Democrat Party is now. That's one of the reasons they have such low approval ratings, is this psychological projection. So for years, they've been saying President Trump was a threat. But now we understand that Obama was actually involved in this. They lied to us about COVID. They lied to us about Biden's health. They lied to us about the Pfizer report and the Russia. They lied to us about Hunter's laptop. So this is the threat to democracy. They continue this psychological projection, accusing others of what they've been doing. And I sat there and thought about it this weekend. Why would they allow this paperwork to be done and no one covered it up? The issue of after the election, when in the White House, President Obama is intertwined in reversing the intelligence agency's review. And I think he was just so brazen. He was so cocky that he didn't think anyone could ever shake him up. And now Americans are asking, will someone go into jail? And that's what needs to happen next, is somebody needs to go to jail for misleading the public in this area. Well, President
Obama would have immunity, but there are a lot of other players in this story that I think we're going to get more information soon. Senator Roger Marshall, thank you for being with us. Really appreciate it. We'll be right back, everybody.